بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Continuing along inshallah with Dawa by Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, the sickness and the cure. Just to summarize two of the remaining points, saying how the evil effects of the sins, ومن عقوباتها أنها تزيل النعم الحاضرة وتقطع النعم الواصلة. From the evil effects of sins is that it would erase your present blessings or barakah or favors from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like too much sins can take away, the favors that Allah has bestowed upon you in terms of your health, in terms of your wealth, in terms of even family members or something like that. Sins can affect that and take that away. Also, وَتَقْطَعْ نَعْمَ الْحَاصِرَةِ, and it can prevent future favors or blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come upon you. And we've talked about this before, but the Imam recaps it in this chapter briefly. So, inshallah, if you want to go back and review it, he talks about how the evil effects of sins will prevent the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he also talks about how from the evil effects of sins is that it will bring destruction, and we also talked about that in detail. So one more thing he talks about now, and we'll go into a little bit more, is how the evil effects of sins, from the evil effects of sins, will scare away or take away the protection or the blessings or the company of the angels. And knowing about the angels is part of our creed. Believing in the angels is part of our iman. For the 6 pillars of iman is أن تؤمنوا بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره. To believe in Allah and the angels and the messengers and the books and the last day and the divine decree. So from our iman, the obligation of our iman is to believe in the angels. The angels, they are a special creation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, created from light. And we know from the animate beings, there are 4 types of creations, right? The angels, the humans, the jinn, and the animal kingdom. So angels, they're created from light, humans are created from clay, the jinn are created from fire, and the animals, there's actually a difference amongst the scholars. There's no clear text to say what they're created from exactly. Some say from water, some say from turab, from dust, but Allah knows best. So from the 4 creations, 3 of them have intellect. That's the angels, the jinn, and the humankind. And the 2 extremes from the 4 are the angels and the animals. So the angels, they have taklif, responsibilities for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they don't have shahawat. They don't have desires. They do whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered for them. And the animals are on the other extreme. They don't have taklif, they're not responsible, but they have shahawat, they have desires to eat, to drink, to procreate, stuff like that. And the jinn and the humankind are in between. We have characteristics of the angels in terms of taklif, and we have characteristics of the animals in terms of shahawat. And the more you feed one of those, the more like that creation you become. So the more you do the takalif, the responsibilities, and fulfilling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and staying away from what He has forbidden, the more like the angels you are. And the angels, are the most, from amongst the most knowledgeable of Allah's creation and the closest to Him. So you become like that, you become lighter, your soul becomes purer, and you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the other extreme, if you follow the way of the animal kingdom, and you focus on the shahawat, the desires of eating and drinking and procreation and stuff like that, the more you become like them. So Allah has given us as Bani Adam and the jinn the choice to choose from which one we're going to be more like and which one we're going to fulfill. The relationship between humankind and the angels, since we're going to focus on the angels inshallah, it started from even before the creation of Adam alayhi salam. Like with قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Allah, He told the angels that we are making a khalifa upon the earth. He told them that Allah's going to create Adam and his offspring and put them upon the earth. So our relationship with the angels started from then, right? And then Allah commanded the angels to bow to Adam. With قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. He told the angels to bow down to Adam. They all bowed down except Iblis, كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ. Another ayah. He's from the jinn. So he didn't bow down. And also from the first interactions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Adam to get up and greet those group of his creation, which were the angels. So Adam, he got up and he went and said Salamu alaikum to the angels. And the angels responded, Wa alaikum as-salam, wa alayka as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And this is the greeting of Islam that started from the beginning of the creation of Adam. So our relationship with the angels started from then, from the very beginning, even before our creation until now. In the Quran and the Sunnah, there are many stories of our interactions with the angels. Inshallah, we can go over a couple together just to remind ourselves, inshallah. So if anybody would like to volunteer one of the stories about our interacting or humans interacting with the angels, tafaddalu. Ibrahim, you know one story at least. It's full in the Quran and there's stories in the Sunnah, so you guys can give me at least one or two, inshallah. Angels interacting with humans. Yes.
Me?
Yeah.
I think when Jibreel salam came in the form of a man and he was dressed in very white clothes and was asking Muhammad some questions in front of the Sahaba.
Yes, that's a very good example. The hadith of Jibreel, when Jibreel came to the Prophet ﷺ wearing, white clothes, shadidul biyad al-thiyab, shadid sawad al-sha'r, la yara li athar al-safar. He came with very white, beautiful clothes and very dark black hair, and there was no appearance of traveling upon him. And he went, the whole hadith teaching the Prophet ﷺ what is Islam, and what is Iman, and what is Ihsan. And the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba at the end, هذا جبريل أتاكم يعلمكم دينكم. This is Jibreel who came to teach you your deen. So that's an interaction of the angels with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Also we know from the story of Ibrahim, the Prophet Ibrahim. The angels came to him as guests, right? And then he went and sacrificed the animal for them, and he came and served them the food, but they didn't touch the food because, as we know, the angels don't eat or drink or sleep. So he was kind of a little bit scared or worried. So they came as guests to Ibrahim alayhi salam. What else? To a relative of Ibrahim, what's his name? Another prophet. Lut? Yes, the Prophet Lot. They came to him in the form of nice looking young men, right? And Lut was very scared about them, from them being harmed by the people of his town. What else? Yes. Maryam. A man, Maryam, the mother of Jesus, alayhi salatu wassalam. She said, "Inni a'udhu bi rahmani minka in kunta taqiyya." A man or a person or something came to her in the form of a man, and she took refuge in the Rahman from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from this person. She thought it was a person, but it was actually an angel. He came to give her the glad tidings of Isa. And before that, in the surah, it talks about Zakaria, how the angels came to give him the glad tidings of Yahya. So the angels interacting with humans has been, from the beginning of our creation all the way until today. Because as Muslims we believe there's an angel that's with you at all times. And that's like they call it the guardian angel in
There's a Battle of Badr.
What's that?
Battle of Badr.
The Battle of Badr, yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent down 3,000 angels. He sent down angels in the different battles with the Prophet ﷺ to help the Muslims. Even some of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they saw like warriors fighting that they have never seen before, striking down people. And the Prophet told them these were the angels from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they were helping the believers. The four main malaika or angels is Jibreel, Mikael, Israfil, and Malakul Maut. That's the correct way to say it, because there's some Israeliyat, like Israeli or Jewish traditions that say he called him Israel, the angel of death. But it's not an authentic hadith, but some people say that you can use it because it's in the books of the people before us. But anyway, he's also well known as Malik al-Maut. These are the 4 main angels that we know. Jibreel is the head of them, like the sheikh of the Malaika, and then Mikael, and then after that, the one, Israfil is the one who's in charge of blowing the horn for the Day of Judgment. Do we know about like what they look like or what they're created from? Or we told you what they're created from light, but do we know what they look like? No. We know that they're very large. So in some narrations, so we know they might be of different sizes, but in some narrations, like the Hamalat al-Arsh, these are also amongst the great angels, the ones who hold the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنْ حَوْلَهُ, and those that are around the Arsh. Those are also from the greatest of the angels. So in some narrations it says the distance between their shoulders and their earlobes are 500 years for one angel. And we also know that I don't know of any correct narrations in which a person saw the angels in their true form, except maybe the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he said that Jibreel filled the horizon, like he couldn't even see the end of him, right? And some of them, they have 2 wings, some of them have 4 wings, some have more. Like in this narration it says 600 wings. Wallahu alam. So we know that they have wings. They're not described as female or male in a sense like us, because they don't procreate. They do not require food or drink. They don't drink or they don't eat. They don't sleep, and they don't get tired, they don't get bored. So they're in continuous ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From their sifat al-khuluqiyya, like we talked about a little bit of what we know from their physical characteristics, but also from their moral characteristics. Does anybody have any descriptions or adjectives of them? It's mentioned in the Quran, Allah describes them as kiram barara, so honorable, righteous, beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ described them. They don't like to be around anything filthy, they don't like to be around sins. So they have like a very high moral standard. Does anybody know what kind of, how many they are? Rough idea? We don't know exactly their number. So in one narration, the Prophet ﷺ said that there's not a place, like the heaven or the skies were about to like fall asunder or shake, and they have a right to do so. And he said, why? Because there's not a spot that's bigger than a hand's span, except there's an angel making prostration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So you can think about like every single spot from here to the heavens, there's an angel prostrating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there's another narration that the Prophet ﷺ, he said 70,000 enter into Bayt al-Ma'mur every single day, never to return. So just think about from the beginning of creation until now, 70,000 every single day. How many would that be? The numbers are astronomical. And another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said that from the angels pulling the hellfire, there will be like 70,000 rings to pull the hellfire. And for each ring is 70,000 angels. Right? So that comes out to approximately 4,900,000,000 angels just to pulling the chains of the hellfire. Right? So the adad, the number we don't know exactly, but we know it's a lot. Their actions are mainly, like I said, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They also bring down the rain. In one narration, it says that every single raindrop that comes down, an angel has brought it down and put it in the exact place that it's supposed to be. Also, they bring down the revelation to the prophets. Their worship, like we said, is continuous. They don't see لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. They do not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they always do what Allah has asked. Do the angels die? Yes?
Like at the end. Yeah.
At the end, okay. MashaAllah. Somebody's been studying their Aqidah, alhamdulillah. So the angels do die. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that, everything in the heavens and earth will pass away. So the scholars include the angels amongst them. And some of the other angels besides Jibreel and Mikael and Israfil, we said Malik al-Maut, and some call the one that contains or control of the hellfire, they call it Muridwan, or Malik, and then some say Munkar wa Nakir and Harun wa Marut, but these are all different among the scholars, but the main ones we said are those four that we mentioned. So these honorable beings and these honorable creatures that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, He's also sent them down to be with us and to protect us and to write our deeds as well. So ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. There's not a saying that you say except that an angel is upon you writing it down, right? Every action you do, they're writing it down. So the Imam now goes into the chapter of how sinfulness will take you and break that connection between you and your angels. So that's how we should, one of the reasons that we try to stay away from sin. ومن عقوباتها أنها تباعد عن العبد وليه وأنفع الخلق له وأنصحهم له ومن سعادته في قربه منه وهو الملك الموكل به. And from the punishments of the sinfulness is that it will put away a distance between you and a close companion to you, your wali, and one of the most beneficial of Allah's creations to you, and one of the ones that give you the best advice, because the angels do give you advice, and one of the ones that help you to achieve happiness by being close to them. And this is Al-Malik Al-Muwakkal, the one who is responsible, the angel that's responsible for you. وَتُدْنَى مِنْهُ عَدُوهُ وَأَغَشَّ الْخَلْقِ لَهُ وَعَظَمَهُمْ ضَرَرًا لَهُ. And the sinfulness will actually bring you closer to the one who is the worst of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation and the most harmful to you and the most deceiving to you, which is the shaitan. نعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فإن العبد إذا عصى الله تبعد من الملك بقدر تلك المعصية. So if a servant, he sins against Allah, he gets pushed away from the angel in accordance to how great that evilness or that sin it was. حتى إنه يتباعد عنه بالكذبة الواحدة مسافة بعيدة. Even for just saying one little lie, he can be pushed away from the angels a far distance. As it was narrated in one of the narrations, إذا كذب العبد تباعد منه الملك ميلا من نتن ريحه. That if a servant lies, the angel goes away from it over a mile because of the disgusting odor that comes from that lie. Right? So the angels, they move away when they see sinfulness. They move away from you. Also the Salaf used to say, إذا أصبح العبد ابتدر الملك والشيطان فإذا ذكر الله وكبره وحمده وهلله طرد الشيطان وتولاه. If a person gets up in the morning, the shaitan and the angel are like competing with each other to get to you. So like some people in those cartoons, they got it right, they have like the shaitan trying to whisper bad things and the angel trying to whisper good things. In a sense, it's true. So when you get up in the morning, this narration says the angel and the shaitan are competing to see who is going to be with you. And if you start your day with remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saying Allahu Akbar or La ilaha illallah or Alhamdulillah, then the angel is going to overcome and be with you throughout that day, inshaAllah. But if you start your day otherwise, then the shaitan will take over and he'll be with you throughout the day. So it's very important in the morning to remember your adhkar and to do your salat, especially salat al-fajr. Right, so you start your day off right. ولا يزال الملك يقرب من العبد حتى يسير الحكم أو الحكم والطاعة والغضب له. And the angel will continue to get closer to you until he becomes like you get wisdom and obedience and victory. فتتوالى الملائكة في حياته وعند موته وعند بعثه كما قال تعالى إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. He's saying that the angels will continue to get closer to you until they will be your support and your guide in this life and in your death. As Allah says in the Quran, the ones who say that Allah is my Lord and establish the straight way, the angels will come upon them and they will have no fear and no grief, and they will be given the glad tidings of paradise, the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised. نحن أولياءكم في الحياة الدنيا. Allah and the angels are your protectors and your caretakers and your close ones in this world, وفي الآخرة, and the next life. So this is from the blessings of staying away from sin and getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will send you these guardian angels to take care of you and to protect you and to show you what's right and to encourage you in goodness in this life and in the next life. وَإِذْ يُوحِي رَبُّكَ إِلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي مَعَكُمْ فَثَبِّتُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah will reveal to the angels that He is with those who believe and to give them firmness, basically. يُثَبِّتُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْقَوْلِ الثَّابِتِ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. Allah will make firm the believers' hearts with the qawl, the saying of La ilaha illallah in this dunya and the akhirah. When your soul is being taken, the angels come to ask you who your Lord was, who is your prophet, what is your religion. You will be able to answer. Allah will make your heart firm and the angels will support you as well. فيقول له الملك عند الموت لا تخاف ولا تحزن وأبشر بالذي يسرك. And the angels will come to them at their death and say, don't be afraid, don't be scared, don't grieve, but have good tidings. So you can imagine, like, at that moment it's scary. You're transitioning from this life to the next life. Your soul is being taken. And if you're a believer though, the angels will come and give you like support and give you glad tidings and put you at ease and you'll be happy. But if somebody's from the other side and dying in disbelief or in great sinfulness, then they might not have the support and they'll be left to their own affairs, and then the angels of punishment may come, right? So it's very scary if you read those ahadith about the punishment of the grave and the punishment at the time of death. But if you're a believer and you have good iman and you stay away from the ma'asi and you do the obedience to Rahman, then the angels come and help you. And the angels, like I said, they give you, or it's known to give the believers happiness even in this life. That sometimes you might be alone with nobody, but you feel at ease and you feel comfort, right? That's sometimes it's Allah giving you that, of course, ease and peace of heart and peace of mind, but also sometimes He's giving you that company of the angels that are with you, so you feel even more at ease. وفي الحديث إن السكينة تنطق على لسان عمر. The angels, they even help the believers in their speech to say the good words. In this narration it says that tranquility comes from the mouth of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. And this is from the angels. وكان أحدهم يسمع الكلمة الصالحة من الرجل الصالح فيقول ما ألقاه على لسانك إلا ملك. So in the past when the Salaf used to hear somebody saying something beautiful speech, they would say that the angels have put that upon your tongue. ويسمع ضدها فيقول ما ألقاها على لسانك إلا الشيطان. And when they hear bad speech or bad words or bad things like that, they said that it's the shaitan that put that in your mouth. So just showing, the Imam is emphasizing the point that the angels could even help you in your speech and saying the good things. So from the punishment of sinfulness is putting a distance between you and these beautiful angels. حتى إن الملك لينافخ عن العبد ويرد عنه إذا سفح عليه سيفه وسبه. كما اختصم بين يدي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رجلان فجعل أحدهما يسب الآخر. He said also the angels will protect you in the sense of if somebody is cursing you or even coming at you with a sword, the angels will protect you, right? Even sometimes you see, subhanAllah, like in our daily lives, like a stone come flying and it just misses your eye, for example. Or you slip and you almost crash or hurt and get a very serious injury, but subhanAllah, like Allah protects you. These could also be the malaika. But he's mentioning in this story, in this narration, the angels, how they protect the believers. And he was saying that they defend you or they fight in your cause. Like he says 2 men were arguing and one was being patient and the other was cursing him. In another narration, I think it was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and the Prophet ﷺ was sitting amongst them. So Abu Bakr was sitting patiently, not responding, and this man was saying very harsh things and very bad things. And Abu Bakr was just patient, and the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with them. Then Abu Bakr, he couldn't take it anymore, so he responded back to him, right? And the Prophet ﷺ, he got up and left. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he came and he said, you know, what happened, O Messenger of Allah? And he said, when you were patient and not responding, the angels were defending you, and I would like to be around the angels. But when you got up and started responding, the angels left, so I must leave. So the angels, the proof of this hadith, the Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah is saying that the angels in general, when you're doing good, they will defend you and they will respond to you, so you don't even have to respond. وإذا دعا العبد المسلم لأخيه بظاهر الغيب أمن الملائكة على دعائه. And if a person, one of you calls and makes dua for your brother or your sister and they're not present, the angels will say Ameen to you. In one narration, they will say Ameen to you and make dua that you get the same. وإذا فرغ من قراءة الفاتحة أمنت الملائكة على دعائه. And when you finish reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, the angels will say Ameen to you. وإذا نام على وضوء بات في شعار الملك. And if you sleep with wudu, you are sleeping in the protection of the angels. فالملك المؤمن يرد عنه ويحارب ويدافع عنه. So the angels of the believers, they will respond for you and they will defend you and they will, you know, prevent you from evil. ويعلمه ويثبته ويشجعه. And they will teach him and they will make you firm and they will encourage you and give you bravery. فلا يليق به أن يوصي جواره ويبالغ في آذائه وطرده عنه وإبعاده عنه فإنه ضيفه وجاره. So it's not befitting that you should, so the angels, he's saying, are doing all these great things for you, right? They're protecting you, they're giving, giving you good words, showing you the right way. So he's saying they're like a guest to you. You know, they're your guests, basically. They're your companions. So it's not befitting to harm your companions and disturb them and scare them away from you with sinfulness. وإذا كان إكرام الضيف من الآدميين وإحسان إلى الجار من لوازم الإيمان وموجباتها فمن ظن بإكرام أكرم الأضياف. And if it's obligatory upon you as a Muslim to have ikram for your ضيف, to have generosity for your neighbors and for your guests, then how much more so is it when the angels are your guests or the angels are your neighbors? Akram al-Khalq, they are the most honorable of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. وإذا آذى العبد بأنواع المعاصي والظلم والفواحش دعا عليه ربه وقال لا جزاك الله خيرا كما يدعو له إذا أكرمه بالطاعة والإحسان. And if a person disturbs these angels with sinfulness and oppression or lewdness, the angels will make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not give this person blessing. Just like he used to make dua for that person if he was doing good. وقال بعض الصحابة رضي الله عنهم إن معكم من لا يفارقكم فاستحيوا منهم وأكرمهم. The Sahaba used to say to each other, verily amongst you or with you are guests that do not leave. So have some shyness from them and honor them. وإن عليكم لحافظين كراما كاتبين يعلمون ما تفعلون. Verily upon you, as Allah says, are those who protectors, kiraman katibin, honorable writers. They write what you do. يعلمون ما تفعلون. They know what you do. So the Imam is saying, have some haya, have some shyness for your guest. Don't disturb them with sinfulness. Don't scare them away from you with evilness or lewdness. وَإِن يَسْتَحْيُوا مِنْ هَؤُلَاءِ الْحَافِظِينَ الْكِرَامِ وَأَكْرَمَهُمْ وَأَجَلُّهُمْ أَنْ يَرَوْا مِنْكُمْ مَا يَسْتَحْيُونَ أَنْ يَرَاكُمْ عَلَيْهِ مَنْ هُوَ مِثْلُكُمْ. And like, shouldn't you have some shyness from these most honorable creation, most beautiful creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, and you have shyness for those that are of less stature amongst you? Like, you'll feel shy to do something in front of your parents or in front of your friends, right? But shouldn't you feel more shy in front of these angels? And we said that before about, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the Khaliq, the creator, we should have the most shyness from him first and foremost. But he's saying another reason is these angels that are around you. So to summarize, basically having shyness for these guardian angels, these angels that are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to us to protect us, that is part of our iman to believe in them. He's saying from the evil effects of sins is that you can lose their company and you can lose their protection and you can lose their dua. So have some shyness and take care to try always your best to do the good things so you can have more angels and more barakah in your life, and stay away from the evil things so they will not be scared away from you. Inshallah, we'll pause or stop here, and the next part of the book, basically the Imam will start getting into the categories of sins and like the specifics of that, and then also he gets further on into like the details of how to cure each of the individual types of sins. So if you guys have any questions now related to this topic about the malaika, تفضلوا, welcome, or comments inshallah. Yes.
Are angels still being created?
Are angels still being created? I believe so, but Allahu A'lam, but I think so. This says humans are still created and jinn are still created. Kullu yawmin huwa fi sha'n. Every day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in a new matter of his creations, always creating, so most likely Allah knows best.
If every individual has two angels, so anybody who's born, they're going to be assigned two new angels, right? So they're going to be created.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, every person has two angels, so, but they could be already from before, huh? They could already be existing, or they could be new. But yeah, that's also another point to show the greatness of the number of the angels. Like if you think that every single human being that's ever been created from the time of Adam until today, every single second or hour or minute that a person is born, there's two angels. So calculate, just right now we have like 7 billion in the earth times 2 just currently right now. So the numbers, like when you start thinking about that, you just want to make sujood and say subhanallah, how great the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is just one of his creations, the angels. When you get into like the stars and look at how many stars there are and how great and huge the stars are, it's like a whole other avenue to just want to make you to put your head on the ground and make sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say subhanallah. Yes.
How many angels guard a person?
How many angels guard the person? I'm not sure if it's those two that are assigned to you or more, but there's ways to get obviously more angels, or to be around angels more. I'll ask you guys, what are some of the ways? Huh? Adhkar, yeah.
Staying away from sins.
Staying away from sins.
Sitting in the gathering.
Yes, that's one I was looking for too. And when you sit in a gathering of knowledge or studying the Quran or studying the deen, the angels come around you. More angels come and they put their wings around you, and you can feel that peace, So that's another way to get the angels to, be around the angels. Also, the places that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love, like for example, Masajid, Biyutullah, the angels are there. In fact, they're making dua for you. If you come in as you're waiting for the salat, and wudu, in a state of wudu, the angels are making dua and istighfar for you, right? So all those angels around there. And the communication, we read the relationship of the Prophet ﷺ with Jibreel, it's very beautiful, like how, he would consult him and stuff like that. This just reminded me, like, the Sahaba asked the Prophet ﷺ, what is the most beloved places to Allah? And he said, the masajid, right, the mosque. And they asked him, so what is the worst places to Allah? What are the most hated places to Allah? And he said, wait, let me consult with Jibreel, and then I'll get back to you. So that was kind of like a shaykh of the Prophet ﷺ, in the sense that he would consult Jibreel. Also he'd read, the narrations, how he read the Quran to him every Ramadan, and the last Ramadan of his life he read the Quran to Jibreel twice, 2 times to review. So, and then the answer was, he said the the marketplaces. Those are the ones that weren't liked too much by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And by marketplace, does it mean like in that specific time when they were like lying in the marketplace and deceiving people, or is it every marketplace?
The hadith was general, it just said suq, so I'm not sure if it's like for all time and all places or just that specific place, but I think it's the hadith is in general. When the narration is given, it's considered general until another hadith, specifies it. So if the Prophet ﷺ didn't say specifically just for these marketplaces in Medina, in general we can say in general like the marketplaces are not the place. That's why also when you go to the market, there's a special dua you can make, so you can get blessing and you get protection when you go into the marketplaces.
Does the importance of the role of the angel or their job dictate like their size or how they look or anything? I read somewhere that the bigger their task, the greater in size they are. So just wondering if that's accurate.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know if there's like a direct narration or ayat that like directly proves that. The sister is saying how the greatness of the angels is in accordance to the greatness of the tasks that they have, right? So, for example, they say Jibril is the greatest, the largest of all the angels because he has the greatest of tasks, and then Mikael, and then Israfil, and then the Malik al-Maut takes different forms because there's different narrations of how he comes in human form sometimes. All the angels can come in human form, but in terms of the greatness, those are like the greatest four. And then they said, for example, Hamalat al-Arsh, those that are holding the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the greatest in size. After that, they're holding the Thamaniya. And then Hawl al-Arsh, those that are around the Arsh, those are like the most honorable places. So some scholars say there is a correlation between the size of the angels and the duty that they have to do. And Allah knows best. But Jazakallah khair. Yes.
By the angels. Is it, I read somewhere, besides, the 70,000 that you mentioned going around and not coming back until, I heard that there are some angels from creation that are in a state of sujood, in a state of ruku' until the end of time.
Yes, that's true. There are some angels are actually in a state of sujood from the beginning of the creation until the trumpet borns. Some in prostration, some in bowing, out of fear. Also, like the scholars say that the more you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. The ones that fear Allah truly are the ulama, that have the most knowledge. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, أَنَا أَتْقَاكُمْ بِاللَّهِ وَأَخْوَفَكُمْ بِاللَّهِ. That I'm like the most righteous or pious person, and I'm the most scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he is the most knowledgeable of the creation of human beings. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most knowledgeable, right? So the scholars say that the angels, because they know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more, they have that fear, that awe, that reverence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, more. That's why لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. They don't sin against Allah. ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. And they do everything Allah has commanded, right? Us meekly humans, we fall into sin a lot of times because actually the scholars say that even in the ayats that prove it, you don't fall into sin except from jahl, from ignorance. Not just ignorance of not knowing that the sin is right or wrong. Of course, when you do a sin, you have to know it's wrong. But ignorance of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and how He's taking into account, right? But the angels, because they know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have this awe and they have this love and they have this fear and reverence of Him more, right? So that's why they're in that state, like of fearfulness, and they're waiting for the trumpet to be blown, because it's a serious matter. But us, because of our lack of knowledge, we don't have that level, right? But the more we strive, like the great scholars of Islam, and the more pious you become, the higher level you have and the closer you are, like the malaika, the angels.
Yes. I was just curious about the whole marketplace. Why? Do we know, or if not, then?
I don't. Some ideas maybe that why the marketplace is just like this, because sometimes people, they will use lying basically to sell products. So a lot of lying is there. Sometimes, and especially back, in Arab countries, how there's bartering going on, and people get really emotional and mad, and anger comes in, and cheating comes in, and sometimes a lot of the bad stuff is associated with around the marketplaces. Like if you go into the souks, in a lot of, even in the Arab countries, unfortunately, there's specific spots for very haram stuff, So maybe, I don't know, it has some type of correlation to that. Allah knows best. But there's also, like I said, there's du'as you can make before going into the marketplace so you can be protected and blessed. And some of the Sahaba would make their point to go into the marketplace and remember Allah so they can turn it around and be of those that get blessings as opposed to getting sins.
Yeah, I heard that they used to swear by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying Wallahi, I bought it for $5 or something.
Yeah.
5 dirham or something, except they really bought it for one and they're selling it for
Yeah, that's true. That they're not used to it. They still do it to this day, unfortunately. They'll swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just for a simple product they're trying to sell. And they know they're lying. And that's a big sin, It's not, some scholars say because they take it as a ada, unfortunately, that it's not as bad, but still, you shouldn't take Allah's name in vain, just to swear for no reason all the time, for petty things. One of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, I think, if it was Uthman or I can't remember the exact name, but he had a business dealing, and he was in the right, and the person basically stole a very valuable piece of land from him, right? And when he was brought forth to try to get his right back, he was asked to swear, and he's like, it's not worthy to swear over this, it's such a great oath about Allah using His name over this little piece of land, he can keep it, and then I'll get it on the Day of Judgment. But just because he had fear of swearing by Allah, taking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name to swear over meager things, right? It's something, an oath when you're saying by Allah, it's a serious matter. So hold Allah's name very high.
No, what if you accidentally don't fulfill the oath? How do you expiate that sin? Is there something from the Sunnah or Quran?
Yes, it's coming up in the future chapters. But in general, if you break an oath, you can first make sure that the oath was intentional and it was not just out of habit. But if it's intentionally breaking the oath, you can in the past they were able to free a servant or clothe or feed 10 poor people or fast 3 days.
Also, was it Uthman ibn Affan who had the angels shy from him? How does that work, an angel being shy?
Yes, so that's one of their characteristics as well, as being kiram and barara, righteous and honorable. They also had haya, shyness. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was sitting upon the well and he had his thighs exposed, and Abu Bakr came and he kept it like that, and Umar came and he kept it like that. Then Uthman came and he put his thobe down, covering his thighs. And the Sahaba asked him afterwards, why did you do that? And he said, أَلَا أَسْتَحِي مِنْ مِسْتَحِي مِنْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, should I not be shy from the one that the angels are shy from? Meaning Uthman radiallahu anhu. So this is a point of characteristics that the angels have. They have shyness too. Also, subhanAllah, the scholars derive from this hadith that the thigh is not an awrah for a man, because the Prophet ﷺ will not expose his awrah, right? So it's a side fiqh issue, but the main point anyway is that the angels do have shyness, and that's why the Imam was making a point in this chapter that we should be careful of falling into sin, and we should have some shyness in front of them as well.
What's the reward for reading adhkar?
Reading adhkar?
Yeah, adhkar al-subh.
Adhkar al-sabah or adhkar al-sukh. I forget the narration escapes me right now, but I think it was 100,000 blessings or something like that, if you can say it when you go in. 1 million. Yeah. So it's great reward, because you're basically in a place where sometimes the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absent. People are so concerned about, it's even nowadays, if you go to shopping, sometimes you can get overtaken by all the stuff that's around you. It's feeding your desires, and you're I want to buy this, I want to see this, I want to look at that, and it's all dunya stuff, obviously, because it's stores you're going for dunya necessities, unless you're going inshallah for an Islamic bookstore, you're trying to get knowledge and ilm and Islamic books, alhamdulillah. But in general, if you're going to Best Buy or Shoppers or whatever store you're going to, you're getting stuff for food or electronics or something dunyawi. So when you're in there, it's basically it's difficult sometimes, so you got to remind yourself to make the adhkar, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Because that's literally zinatul hayat dunya. You know, all the technology is there to like suck you into the dunya basically. So it's that more important to remember Allah. I guess that's another reason for the suq. I just thought of maybe because of that.
I also read that the two angels that we have that write everything, if you say or do something wrong, they withhold from writing it right away, and they pray Allah that you say astaghfirullah. And if that is so, for how long do you have to say astaghfirullah?
I think the narration says if you do something wrong, the angels will wait 6 hours. I think Sister Ibtihal said it last time, right? That narration. 6 hours before they will write it down. Or sometimes, and that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. And also, I think there's a narration too about how, I think when the husband is with the wife, or the person says Bismillah and he's changing, the angels like, kind of go away out of shyness too. So, Jazakumullah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.